Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bumper Sticker Wisdom. Thank you for joining us today on this second day of the year 2024.
Yes, sir.
Getting ready to drop our first episode in 2 days.
Yeah, I noticed there was already some crazy stuff going on the news too. That was kind of depressing to see.
Always something.
Yeah, I guess Japan got hit with the
Some tsunamis and earthquakes.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that we'd start the new year off, kind of positive, but I guess it is what you make it.
I think that's pretty much the case, right?
Yes, sir.
So before we really dive in, man, I got to talk a little sports. I have to ask how the game went. You got to go to see the Broncos.
Yeah. It was a good game. I do have to say this, though, man. I was kind of disappointed. I felt like if they'd have let Russ cook, we kind of really could have, blown them out.
Yeah.
I think it's out of pure arrogance and stubbornness that they're doing this. And it's kind of, but I'll tell you this, man. That dude's amazing. To basically have been crapped on last week.
Yeah.
My son runs up to the gate as he's coming in, and I mean, he was an all-star.
Super gracious.
Oh, dude. My kid got an autograph, I showed you that. I mean,
Yeah.
which I was like, dude, you shouldn't have gave up so quick. We could have brought your jersey. That should have been what got autographed. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But that necklace was pretty cool. That was a pretty fun experience for him,
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt like if we'd have let him do his thing, let him finish the year. I mean, what are you worried about?
You still have a chance. You still had a chance at the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, we are just like lollygagging,
Kind of giving up.
I'm not taking anything away from Stidham or anything, but
Yeah. Well, and I like L.J. Humphrey. Lil Jordan Humphrey's my boy, man. He played for
yeah.
the Longhorns back in the day.
Yeah.
At the year we beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, he was on big key to that.
he was. I mean, I'll tell you what, that dude is. He was fighting for that.
He's a big dude,
and
too,
it was
man.
really crazy to watch it because I didn't realize how big that dude was until
Yeah.
seeing him in real life.
Right.
And it was like, crap, man, this dude's freaking huge.
And they don't make these dudes little no more.
No. Like, I don't know what they put in the water of these training facilities, but
Right?
man, it's crazy.
So, for me, being a Cowboys fan, you saw the way that ended on Saturday night.
Hey, I listened to all the critics talk all that smack too about how y'all stole that game.
Come on, man.
Dude, it is what it is. It's whatever.
Well, I got a couple of commentaries on it really quickly. Number one, you cannot possibly explain to me how the best pass rusher in the NFL, who has the most pressures in the NFL, has not had a holding call against him in 50 quarters. That's 12 straight games with no holding calls. There's no way.
Yeah.
There is no way.
Yeah.
Especially when you can broad daylight see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, two, while watching the game live, the rules analyst actually said there was 2 other fouls all at the same time. So, yeah, he called that, and maybe that wasn't the right call, but you also could have called him for not being covered up, and you could have called because you can't have 2 report at the same time.
Well, also, too, I noticed that they called tripping on y'all, and it was actually the Lions that were doing the tripping.
It wasn't us.
Yeah.
It was Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the whole thing, like the refs kind of blew it, I guess, a little, but they blew it the whole game. I mean, it ain't like they just blew it in y'all's favor. They were blowing it in everybody's favor,
It's not like they opened the door to the criticism, right, by having that call in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
But again, if you look at the broadcast, the ref actually came on the microphone, the stadium microphone, and said number 70 is reporting eligible. He didn't say anything about number 68.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
68 comes running up afterwards, after the fact.
Right.
Like he's like 70 reports, and then they're all walking away, and here comes 68.
Yeah.
Running up to him, and he'd already turned his back, started walking off, and he was like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Sorry, I got a dog in here today. He's not being helpful.
He's all right. He was over here scratching a minute ago, so if it sounds like a dog collar flopping around, that's exactly what it was.
Jason was scratching himself.
Yeah, that was pretty aggressive, and I'm not wearing any bracelets, so I want to know what was jiggling. I don't have a bracelet or a watch or anything, so there was some jewelry flopping around. So,
and then the last thing on the sports topic is my Longhorns got beat last night. Had a chance with 1 second left.
I was pretty bummed out about that one too. I mean,
again, a couple of quick commentaries. Number one, the second worst penalized team in the country in Washington had 1 penalty all night, while Texas had 10.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is what it is. You can't blame it on the refs. And we put it on the carpet twice, two big fumbles. But Michael Penix just was pin dropping everything, man. Perfect placement on everything. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know how you beat that, man.
You can't.
So it's like MJ's fadeaway, you know what I mean? You couldn't stop it.
No.
So,
yeah, there's just there's some things, 100% accuracy is going to kill you no matter how good your coverage is, because he can put it 6 inches above your cover guy's biggest reach. I mean,
it was just there. So, disappointing. Season's over. I finally took my flag down. I put that flag up. I usually put it up every game day, and then take it down at the end of the game. But after they lost to Oklahoma, I kept it up there for spite because, you know, I'm not going to let people are always like, oh, well, we won. Well, I'm still a fan. I don't know. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean?
Well, I kind of feel like we got jinxed because one of my buddies called me right before we left to go to the Bronco game, and he was like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, good luck, but I think Washington's got your number. And I was like, get out of here.
Get out of here, dude. I thought
and then I texted him this morning. I was like, hey, thanks for that.
Honestly, I felt good all day yesterday. I was like, I think we're going to win this game. I really feel good about it. But they got rid of the ball so fast. Our defensive line couldn't get the pressure. It was a perfectly executed game plan by Washington. Kudos to them. They're going to the national championship against Michigan.
Yeah, and I think I'm not even gonna say this, but because I felt like we had the best chance against Michigan.
Yeah,
but I really wanted that Texas-Alabama rematch.
Oh gosh, I did too, man. I think the whole country did, and then it almost felt like when Alabama lost, there's no way Texas is going to win. You know? What I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, off the sports.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Unless you had more.
No, that was it. It was a relatively lackluster day after because I did watch all the Alabama game, and then Texas came on, and I kind of watched that a little, and I'd been up since 2:30 yesterday morning. Yeah, getting in the airport and all that stuff, and I tried my hardest, but
couldn't do it.
It just wasn't in the cards for me.
It's okay. It was good, but
I was kind of peeved. Have to wake up and start checking scores because I kept dreaming that I was listening to it on TV, and I kept listening. The way it sounded in my dream was, it's Alabama and Texas again.
Right.
I kept having that thought, and then I get up and I check the scores, and it was like, really, really.
Well, to get on to the real stuff, man, let's start with a little prayer.
Yes, sir.
Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for the opportunity, for the platform, and the willingness to speak to each other about life and really just try to connect with you, Lord. Father, allow us to speak the truth and allow us to open our hearts to you and really to understand you. We thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. It is done.
It is finished, as they say.
Yes, sir.
I got a couple of things. Just kind of lead, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
First one is, obviously I mentioned at the beginning that this is the second day of the new year. And so it made me, I was thinking about, well, first and foremost, being made new, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I can think about when you talk about the Christian walk or the walk of faith. And I was thinking about resolutions, right? Are you a resolutions guy?
I wouldn't say I'm a resolutions guy because I feel like you set yourself up for failure with that. But I'm a goals guy.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a goals guy. And my goals are not. I'm never going to do this again. That's not my goals. My goals are always. Well, I'm going to try to go. Prime example. I'm going to try to go only without drinking on the weekdays, or I'm gonna try. I totally say I'm gonna try. Yeah. I'm doing my best, but sometimes life happens, and a little kick to the groin area, and a little whiskey helps it feel a little better.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I'm a goals guy. I don't try to put a cap on forever. I'm quitting this forever.
Yeah.
I always say well, let's go. Another one that I always try to open the new year with is let's try to make it 7 days without swearing.
Yeah.
Or something small.
That's
or
tricky in this world.
Yeah, and this one was I'm going to try to beat our streak for going to church, which I won't be at our church next Sunday, but I will be at a church on Sunday.
Good.
One of my buddies called, and he's getting baptized. And
fantastic. That's awesome.
The really cool part about that is we hadn't really been talking a whole lot. And he actually sent me out a text, and he was like, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know, I'm getting baptized next Sunday. It's kind of a big deal for me, and I wanted all the important people in my life to be there."
Interesting.
Which said a whole lot for the fact that we hadn't really talked in a while, and for him to kind of include me in that important people category. It just kind of goes to remind you that sometimes, when you feel like your friends aren't y'all aren't vibing, every now and then, you get that reassurance, and it was cool. So we are gonna be there for that for him.
That's good. Well, talk about being made new. I mean, that's the moment you're talking about, right? The first story. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be a part of the actual service on New Year's Eve, which the gentleman that actually is the kids pastor that I serve under, preached a message apparently and did a fantastic job. I could hear him from the kids' room because I was in elementary, working with the kids, telling probably the best change story, the best being made new story that I can think of. We were sitting there. I was sitting there discussing this Bible story with the kids, and they're like, "Is it WWE in there?" Because he got that loud and that animated. Like it sounded like. I told him, I said, I was waiting for, "Can you smell?" You know what I mean? Or 2 claps and a Ric Flair or something, because that's what it sounded like, man.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
So
I got you.
But to me, I started thinking about, it really is, it takes me to Acts chapter 9, I believe it is, the Saul story, when Saul has his encounter with Christ. Well, Saul, and it kind of goes back to one of the first conversations that you and I ever recorded. Now, it's not going to be part of our opening podcast, but we talked about, a thief is a thief is a thief, or a liar is a liar is a liar, or whatever. Once a thief, always a thief, or once an addict, always an addict. And I know that concept I get it, but at the same time, that's almost like saying that we can't be changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I had a real problem with somebody saying that about somebody that worked for me. So anyway, prime example, though, if we're going to take the Bible to be what it is and believe that it is what it's claimed to be, then the story of Saul makes that an absolute lie, right?
Yeah.
Because Saul was a Christian persecutor.
And he was a murderer. He was savage. I mean, he was a beast.
He was a beast. He was a Pharisee, and he was ready to come after. He was on his way to arrest anybody who was followers of the way. That's how they describe it in the Bible, the way. And
now he was he come about after Jesus had already been crucified, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I got you.
So
my timeline's in the Bible. Sorry, everybody.
Oh,
still a lot to digest for me.
Hey, it's okay because to me it keeps me fresh, and it's good to make sure people understand that. Some people think Saul was one of the disciples. He was not.
Yeah.
He is an apostle because he had an encounter with Christ and became one of the greatest advocates for the way.
Yeah.
Following the way of any of the disciples, actually, and 2/3 of the New Testament is his writings to the churches that were established by those early the disciples and Paul, and he was more the Gentile guy. He was the one that was there to impact the Gentiles, right? Whereas everybody else was kind of after the Jews. And, Christ brought everybody into the fold. You know what I mean? It wasn't just about Abraham and his children anymore. It was about everybody.
Yeah.
Man, that could get really convoluted really fast. But anyhow.
When you think about it, how you just said that, of course, I know the population of the world wasn't quite what it is now. When you think about that, that just goes to prove just what that means, what that crucifixion. I mean, like he came for all of us.
Yeah.
Look at how much how many people actually benefited from this.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just about the Jewish people, which was maybe a small percentage of the entire Earth's population.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what they thought. That's what the Pharisees and the Sadducees, those guys, the religious leaders, that's what they all thought was it was about them. Yeah. It wasn't for everybody else. Yeah. Because we're God's chosen people.
Yeah.
Which, take it for what it is. I get it.
Yeah.
But I would think that on some level they're a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
Because we've been following him for generations. And now this man comes and blasphemes and calls himself God, and you get to be a part of it?
Well, that's the whole glory of the whole thing. I mean,
none shall be left behind.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my 1 for 99 shirt.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a whole other thing, too. That brought up that whole, and sorry, I kind of skipped around a little there with my speech, but that's why I had that question.
Yeah.
Like what happens? Because, I'm talking about the living room incident.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
We'll live in infamy.
Yeah. That's what brought that up was because, okay, if Jesus Christ is the way and the only way, what happens to these people that are praying to God, but they're not following the way? That's what I mean. Like, because I know that there's good people in every religion. I mean, I'm not going to say that every Muslim is bad. No, I mean that would be total blasphemy for me to say.
Yeah.
There's good in everybody. Yeah. I'm not gonna use the religion because I think that could get totally misconstrued into thinking that by some way, shape, or fashion that I disfavor that. I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but it just totally blows me away that question is huge.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen?
Well, the reality of it is, if I had to give it a small explanation as quickly as possible, is if you are not on the Christ side, then you're relying on yourself.
Yeah.
To be able to live the life perfectly.
A perfect life.
That Christ was already able to do and accomplished. He already accomplished that purpose, and the sacrifice has already been made.
Yeah. Read
the book of Hebrews. Yeah. It lines it out really well. And about the final sacrifice, the once for all time. It says once for all time sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to rely on myself because I know I'm not good. I know I can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's letdown central for me.
I mean, bound and determined to fail.
Oh, yeah.
So
human.
That's the difference. Yeah,
human.
Human. So anyway, getting back to just being changed, man, I think that it's possible for everybody, but it's about submission, right? If you pay attention in the story when Saul's on the road to Damascus to go and arrest these Christians and kill them, some, if they refuse or resist, it says a great light, right? Like an overwhelming light, so powerful actually that it made him fall to his face. You know what I mean? Like that powerful. And it's Jesus, and he says, why are you persecuting me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he goes to Ananias. Ananias has a vision or a dream from an angel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Visit from an angel in a dream that says, hey, I need you to go pray for this dude, Saul. And this dude knows who Saul is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Saul is famous for his hatred towards followers. And, I can imagine Ananias's thought. Like, he immediately going, are you sure about that? Yeah. Like, you're basically sending me on a suicide mission.
Yeah.
That's his thinking, right? So I need you to go put hands on him, pray for him, right? And, when that happens, because when Saul had his encounter with Christ, he was stricken blind.
Yeah.
Right? For, I think it's 3 days. There's a lot of that. 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ananias goes and does his prayer, and it says something like scales fell off his eyes, which when I was describing it to the kids, I said, when I think of that, I think of scabs.
Yeah.
Like a big scab.
Yeah.
It just kind of fell off, which is gross to even think about, but that's all I could think of. But then he was baptized, right? And he began his journey. You know what I'm saying? And from that point forward, he was a different person. Yeah. You can never. They didn't call him Saul anymore. He was never referred to Saul again. He was called Paul the whole time.
Saul Paul. That's what I always remember who he is. Saul Paul.
Saul Paul.
Yeah, that's the ultimate way of saying that people do change.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like this. For the most part, like an addict, a true addict, someone that has been an addict for,
long time,
10 years, 15 years, they're always going to be an addict because every day they wake up with that mental fortitude, like, hey, I got to overcome this. I do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right. Maybe most people don't really know that part of your story.
Yeah.
As far as, things that you've already had to deal with.
Well, and as this goes on, they'll kind of get to know.
Sure.
But it does, I have those moments probably at least once or twice a week where I have to really check myself. I have to check my attitude because I can feel myself starting to get into that.
Yeah. Oh, and man.
That's that whole. That's why if someone ever actually got a hold of my phone, and you go through and you click on certain contacts that I've had interactions with in that way, they're all blocked.
Right.
The ones that were like it was real bad, they're all blocked and deleted.
Right.
Like I blocked them and deleted them. Like that was how bad it was because I was just trying to clean up my whole contact list of any way of being able to get a hold of anybody that could do anything like that for me.
Right.
So
it's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. But I'm a 1,000% different person than I ever have been.
Right.
But I still have to it's a battle every day to be the person that I am now.
Yeah.
Because it'd be real easy just to slip off the wagon and just go stumbling back into a patch of bull crap,
my dad is he was a long time drug and alcohol abuse counselor. Did that for a long time. He gave it up because of the failure. You know what I mean? For every one that was a success, there was a whole bunch more that were not, up to and including suicide. Yeah. But it's I think it comes down to that choice, though. You get the opportunity every single day to make a choice.
Yeah.
Right? That's the same thing that we're talking about when we're talking about our following Christ. It's a choice. It's an option, right? Hey, I'm not ever going to sit up here and tell you that I know everything. I'm not going to tell you that I'm right about everything because I'm not. I know that I have a perspective and other people have perspectives as well. And, I'm just saying, like, all I know is this works.
Yeah.
If you walk it out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This whole thing works.
There are some trying times. Everybody's going to go through that struggle.
Yeah.
You're gonna stump your toe. Best way to put it. But when
crunch,
you just gotta avoid the falling on your face.
Yeah.
Stump your toe, whatever. Go on. Yeah. Just don't fall on your face and completely lose hope or lose track. I mean, it's very easy. I will tell you, it's very easy to get to that point where you don't feel like you just feel like, whatever. I'm done. It's easy. You gotta.
Man. Yeah, I mean, we both kind of had one of those moments recently. Yeah. And look, you will hear. I'm not a quitter, brother. I'm not. I'm a fighter. Yeah. I'm stubborn as hell in that way. Yeah. I will not quit. But I quit.
Yeah,
I did. I quit.
Oh, yeah.
I was ready to call it quits on all of it. I'm done with it. Not gonna do it anymore.
I quit last night for a brief moment.
Yeah.
Not so much in a. I didn't. I didn't quite get to that point like we did.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Right.
But I was at that point where I felt like, I'm trying to do the best I can on my end of people that I have long-standing relationships with and getting them on board with what we have going on. Like, I feel like there's no harm in advertising this, and especially to the people that you're the closest to.
No.
And I feel like I should be able to do that. And it's just like every time it's just like in one ear, out the other. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, whatever.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it feels.
And I don't know if maybe they all think I'm full of crap.
Like I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing.
But I've sent them our teasers. I've showed them that the T-shirts that are getting made. Like I've showed them all this stuff, and I'm just like, dude, check it out, man. You really got to listen to it. Like Thursday, man, it's gonna be dropping, man. It's gonna go down. Like, love your help. I'd love for your support. Just even if you don't listen to the whole thing, just chime in a little. Like hit the visit button and just see what it's about. It may be something that you do enjoy. It may not, but.
And it's not going to be the right answer. It's not going to be what you want to hear either. But it kind of just reminds me that, it's kind of like the story when Christ went back to Nazareth, you know what I mean, where he was born. Yeah. And basically their unbelief blocked him from being able to do much because they couldn't believe in him. It's literally the idea like, oh, him? That's just Jesus. Like, that's just Jesus. Like, how we're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Really?
Yeah. You realize, like, that's just Jesus, right? Like,
you realize that is Jesus.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But what I know about humanity and about the people that we love, first and foremost, it's always going to hurt worst coming from them. But they're not always going to be ready for you. You know what I mean? What you're doing is a scary thing for them. Is what it sounds like to me.
It's scary for me too.
Well, but they're not ready to go on the ride with you.
Yeah, I can see that. I just I guess, maybe I'm just putting them on a pedestal. I guess of expectations that I really thought was. I really expected. Like, oh, really, man, dude, that's freaking awesome. Like, let me hear it. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, what's it called? Or,
yeah. Even if it's crap, at least love me enough to.
Yeah, have my back enough to, like, pretend to give a crap, Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole.
I love you, Jason.
Yeah, I love you too, brother. I love you too.
So again, this goes back to what we've kind of already talked about. There's going to be negative and there's going to be positives. It's not about them then. You know what I mean? It's about the other people. Yeah. That are gonna get to listen to us talk and somehow, some way relate to us in a way that makes them believe that Christ is the right way to go, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree.
Although it hurts.
Yeah, it is. It did. Whatever. I'm over it.
You're over it at this point, but it's still disappointing, right? Because it's okay. I got a story, a history lesson about John. Obviously, if you get to see in this room, I'm a big music guy. I've been playing guitar for a very long time. I'm also a writer. I write.
Fine poetry too.
Write poetry and
very good poetry.
Do some. Thank you.
Go ahead and toot your horn on that. Don't sell yourself short.
Well, you never. I'm never going to elevate myself much, but I do those things. I've done it a long time, and I've had moments multiple times with people that I desperately and deeply cared about. I shared with them, and they were like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Stone cold. You know what I'm saying? My first wife, my mother, you know what I mean? Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and you can't, people listening can't see the look on my face, but you get the look.
Yeah.
Like, you get it. Like, pfft, really?
Yeah. to kind of help you with that. I mean, I don't know if it'll help you or not, but I feel like it will. To kind of help you with that's people that don't understand. That's people that don't understand you.
Yeah.
I read it the first time, and immediately knowing you, it made perfect sense to me.
Right.
Knowing you, knowing how you are, knowing your struggles, knowing everything about you, I can read it and I know exactly what that's pertaining to.
Right.
That's the part that I know it doesn't make it any better, but
right.
That's why if anybody doesn't get it, that's going to be why.
Yeah. But see, again, you kind of are making this. We're making the same point to each other, right? And I remember that moment when I shared this thing that I wrote. I'm not big about sharing this stuff. Like, I play guitar and I love it and I think I'm okay, right? I've played with some other people that are like, no, dude, you're pretty good. You know what I mean? But I'm afraid to play in front of people. Why? Because I'm afraid of that response. Yeah. I'm afraid to hear, I don't get it. Yeah. Or, really? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's painful because this is an expression of what's inside of me. Yeah. Right? What we're doing right now is the same thing. Yeah. And that's why it hurts so bad. You know what I mean? That's why when you're trying to share this with people that you care about, because you want them to come on the journey with you. You want them to see it and be a part of it and praise. It's not about praise. It's about, wow, dude. You know what? Even if I don't like it, I'm going to share it with somebody else that will like it.
Or how about, man, dude, you've come a long way.
Right. Seeing the growth.
Like, I'm not one to say, like, give me attention, but it does help with the keeping on the right path when people notice that the change that you've made. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we've touched on this, but she wasn't 7 years ago. They were threatening to take away my freedom. Like I just barely got my rights to vote reinstated, or my right to own a firearm. I mean, I was in a bad place, and I was walking a very terrible path, Yeah.
That's a different human being sitting in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, it genuinely is, and it just, I think that's the part of it that really kind of is like, like, man, yeah, like those are the guys that were there watching me self-implode
and not wanting to see that, right? Yeah. They didn't want to see that happen to you, no, because they cared enough about you.
And they watched all that going on with me. I mean, I remember one of my buddies telling me, like, with the tattoos you have, you're going to be real fun in prison. And I was like, oh, man,
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know, it's.
Well, there's nothing that's going to be said here right now that's going to take away the what happened. It's already done, right? Yeah. And I think the best course of action going forward, first and foremost, is to have grace, right? Yeah. Remember that grace, the way I describe grace and the way I understand grace is that it's not forgiveness per se.
It's the ability to forgive.
It's like it gives space for forgiveness, right? It's understanding. There's other scripture, I would have to look it up, that says, to make allowances for each other's faults, right? Which basically just means have patience with each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? As discouraging as that was, though, remember that regardless of what they do, you have at least one person that's 100% behind your back, and that's because I'm in the boat with you, right?
Well, and that did help. I mean, that helped tremendously because I texted you and I was like, bro, I mean, like,
I could tell.
It just, I mean, like a dagger to my freaking heart, And I texted you, I was like, man, it's just like, it did help, to hear you say, man, don't worry about it, I got your back.
Yeah.
It was huge. That was huge.
You haven't known me well enough or been in situations well enough or enough for me because I am that guy where I'd have been like, well, screw you, dude. Yeah. He's trying to talk to you, man. Why don't you listen to your friend? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
And nobody would like me, and I wouldn't be able to come back anymore.
That's all right. That's all right, brother. We'll have our own party.
But on top of that, too, man, I think it's about where it goes back to that conversation we had a couple weeks ago about focus, right? So where's your focus? My focus. If that's the case, then our focus needs to not be on them, and focus on. Look, my wife is 1,000% behind this, and tells everybody who will listen about it. Yeah. You know, I'm sure your wife is 1,000% behind it. You know what I'm saying, and supportive of it. I know Brittany is behind it 100,000%, and shoot, just trying to help us, you know, get a trademarked logo coming at you soon.
Yeah, it's gonna have some merch getting thrown at you.
Yeah, you know, all those kinds of things. There's people. It's not just about what we can bring to the table, though. That was something that you said about. I feel like I'm not bringing something with me.
Yeah. So when that all popped off, my exact words were. Like the only support system. Well, you know, like I have my mom.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just my wife and my mom.
Yeah.
Those are the only two support systems I have in this.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to, you know, and I'm not. Trust me, I'm not keeping score. I'm not doing anything like that. But it just like when I hear the support system you have on your side, I'm just like, well, dang, man, and I think that's why I'm trying to, that may be why it's not really working out. Is I'm trying to beat it down everybody's throat, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to get the people I care about to hear what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
That I may be doing it in the wrong way, and they're just like, dude, shut up. Like, get out of here with this nonsense. You know, like this is the third or fourth time you've told me. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, again, if people can't understand your excitement, because look, we're putting a lot into this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of our time.
Yeah, and I think the biggest part about what we talked about this. We talked about how much time we actually do not have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
this is a sacrifice.
Yeah. But it's one that I can tell you right now I wouldn't change.
No.
I wouldn't take it back. If anything, there's other stuff that I would give up. You know, I would give up bowling to do this.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love bowling.
Yeah.
But am I getting anything out of it?
Other than a good time?
Intoxicated. That's it. That's it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I go to bowling to drink and hang out with my family members and my friends, and that's that. And
it's really a time suck.
It is. It's a master of time suckage, dude. Yeah. Master, because dude, you can go in there and in your game, like I'm very guilty of this. My game's being over for like an hour, and I'm still hanging out, chit chatting, and when I don't need to be there. I mean, I accomplished what I needed to accomplish. You know what I mean? Like,
it is finished.
Yeah. I went up there, I made a total freaking fool of myself throwing a ball around.
Yeah, right.
And then along the way, got a little inebriated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's crazy that we have this, and we talked about how we don't have time for a lot of things, but we're not trying to take time away from it. Like I'm counting in my mind like how many hours a week I spend doing this or this or this or this.
I'm honestly trying to find out ways to do more. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out ways for us to spend more time messing with it and talking about it and doing it. I understand it can't be all-consuming at this point because, you know, we have to make a living. Yeah. But, dude, for whatever reason, this is just fun. Yeah. Besides the fact that
it genuinely is.
It's fun, and we're getting to know God a little bit better, and we're getting to know each other a little bit better, and hopefully we're going to get to know some other people along the way who have questions.
Hit that Q&A
hit
section.
That Q&A, yes. And
interact with us, man.
I feel a little bit like George Bailey right now. Because I don't ever look at myself like that. Like you were talking about how you feel like I have all this support. I've never felt that way.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's my dad and my wife.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? And it's self-inflicted because of my personality and my trauma responses and things like that I'm very self-isolating.
Yeah.
And I take everything on my own, right? I pretty much just try to care, just like that guy that keeps piling the one more brick on top of his shoulders. You know, eventually them knees are just going to give out, you know.
Bird flies over and drops a feather, and that's what made him crumble.
Yeah. You know, I'm guilty of that all the time. But that's part of what this is about, right? I'm trying to change that. I want to be different.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to crumble under the weight of my own freaking insanity. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think, in all fairness, I don't think you should call what you're going through insanity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I get it.
I think you and me we're so much alike it's scary. It's one of those. It's one of those where when we do sit down and we talk, it's amazing to me how similar our stories are and how similar our pain and our traumas are, but yet how completely different people we are.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like the way
it is wild, isn't it?
The way that you deal with like when you're not comfortable in a crowd, you don't like you're like like I'm out.
Yeah, my wife has spent enough time around me. When I'm done, that's it. It's game over. You're not going to convince me to stay. I'm over. I'm done.
My mom, I was living in one of my mom's rent houses, and little shack off of the Boulevard and Martin Road.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had probably, keep in mind, this is about a 750 square foot 2-bedroom house. I mean, it is freaking tiny, dude.
Yeah, like, about as big as this little space we got going.
And when I say, and the rooms were just big enough to have a mattress in or a bed in, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It was tiny. Living room, same size as the bedrooms, kitchen. You know, you had one set of uppers and lowers and a stove, and that's how we heated the house. It was a gas stove. Yes. So I would turn the oven on and open the door, and I'd sleep in the living room when it get real, real cold, and then I'd just sleep in the living room because, man, it was freezing in this house, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had probably about 45 people in this little house.
I just envisioned it immediately.
I'm not even kidding. There wasn't like everybody was stuck in the spot that they were standing in. Like,
ain't no dancing, ain't no nothing.
It was no mingling. There was nothing going on, bro. And
That's stupid.
I don't remember what. It's something to do with my cousin and I think it was my cousin and his girlfriend were fighting or something, and like shit started getting broke. Pardon the language.
Yeah.
But stuff started getting broke at my house, and I lost it, dude. So I like mow through everybody, and I go in my room, and because I'm like no one can hear me, no one's listening to me. So I go in there and I grab my shotgun. It's a little sawed off shotgun, 12 gauge shotgun, you know.
Kaboom.
So I go running out there, and luckily there was already had it chambered. So I had it. It was like my personal protection for my house.
Yeah.
Well, I had it. The way I had it loaded was slug, birdshot, slug, birdshot, slug, or whatever. It's like I think it held 6 shots, but I had it alternated.
Yeah.
First shot was a slug. Second was a birdshot. You know, just in case I missed with the slug, I'd hit them with the birdshot, and then I'd hit them with the slug after that. You know, whatever.
One's a warning, one's for death. Yeah, I got it.
But luckily, it was already had a round in there, and I cocked it again, and I cocked that slug out.
Yeah.
So it was a bird shot in there at that point. And everybody's like, you won't do it. And I pointed it at the ground, and boom. And I tell you, I've never seen so many people get out of a house so fast in my life.
Especially when they're shoulder to shoulder, cram packed like sardines.
Dude,
bro.
I'm not too sure that people weren't going out of my windows. You know what I mean? Like, it might have been that way, but So I know what you're saying. That was my point. That was my breaking point. That was only, because I was outnumbered too. And keep in mind, 2 or 3 of these people were actually they were my cousins.
Yeah.
Or they used to be they're still my cousins, whatever. That story goes a whole nother way, but.
Right.
And then 2 or 3 of them were my friends.
Right.
The rest of them were people I didn't know.
Right.
And
that's a bad situation.
And I'm getting crap in my house broke, dude. And I'm a single father.
Yeah.
I'm paying bills as a total degenerate, but I'm still trying to pay my bills. I'm paying my truck payment, my house payment, or my rent. My utilities. I don't have a phone. I don't have no finer things in life at all.
Right.
They're tearing up my crap.
Yeah. Tearing up my crap, literally. I got it.
Yeah. And so I break out the old shotgun, man. And but it took a long time before my cousins and a couple of my buddies, they wouldn't come back for a while.
I bet. Yeah.
They were like,
yeah. Well, did you make sure you evacuated your bowels before midnight on New Year's? So you didn't bring the same old crap to the next year.
You want to hear something funny about New Year's for me is
y'all were in Denver.
Yeah, and our plane left Saturday morning at 5:30. Right?
Yeah, from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got up at 3. I got my kid up at 3. We all got ready. Took showers, made sure all our bags were packed, because it literally took me up until my mom was sitting at our front door to figure out what I was going to take to the game. Because I was like, man, I don't know if it's going to be cold. Plus, I get hot really easy,
So I don't want to carry a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I didn't want to check a bag. I just wanted to throw a backpack over my shoulder. So I was at that level. 4 o'clock, my mom shows up like 3:45. 4 o'clock, we're leaving my house. We get there. We have a really good time, but we're in bed fairly early because, we've been up all freaking day. My kid is literally falling asleep at the table while he's trying to eat his chicken tenders.
Dang.
It was rough. Yeah, it was rough. So Sunday morning we get up, enjoy the free continental breakfast at the Fairfield by Marriott. Super good breakfast.
Denver.
Yeah, and we went to the game and everything. Well, our flight left Denver at 6. Well, it's a 30-minute drive almost from where we stayed to the airport. Plus you have a 15-minute shuttle from the rental car place to the actual airport.
Their airport is awful.
And then
it's huge.
Yeah, and then you got to jump on the train, you got to take the train to the gate. You still got to go through TSA checkpoint. You still got to do all that. So we're like, dude, man, we got it. So we all got up at 2:30.
Ugh.
So New Year's Eve, after the game, we went to this really awesome little restaurant, this Mexican food place. They charged you for chips and salsa though.
Not in Texas,
bro. And when I tell you you couldn't have filled up my snuff can with salsa. That's how much. That's how they didn't hardly give you any salsa, and they gave you chips in a bowl about the size of this glass. I mean,
that's a travesty.
So my mom made the comment while we were there. My mom's like, "What? We all get 3 chips?"
Yeah,
and we paid $9 for the chips and salsa.
No way.
So then I asked them for more salsa. I'm like, "Hey, can I get more salsa?" They're like, "Oh yeah, sure."
$1.75.
So they bring out even less, and then they bring us more chips, and then we get charged another $9 freaking. Anywho, but it was good food. But when
it's not their fault, Jason.
When we got
Things
back,
have gotten crazy,
dude. Here's the thing: is our ticket was still like $95, and my son got a freaking kids meal burrito. I had 2 Modelo's.
Yeah.
Everybody else at the table had water. I'm just like,
dude.
Yeah.
It's just.
But we got done. We made it to the hotel, and we were out. I tried to watch the Vikings and Packers game.
Yeah. We sat up. We actually sat up. We played cards, me and Terry. We were going to have friends over, but they couldn't because they have an autistic son and young son, and they weren't able to find a babysitter, and they didn't want to bring him. Which, we were like, dude, bring him. He always has fun. But they didn't want to have to do it, and I understand. You know, that's a different stress I don't understand, and I don't blame them for that. But we did stay up, surprisingly. I didn't think I'd make it, but I made it well past midnight.
Well, my mom and my wife told me that the fireworks that they shot off at the stadium were amazing.
Oh, did they watch them?
I guess they heard it going on, and of course, nothing. I didn't hear anything.
Zonked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really crazy thing though too. I'll just touch on this, and then I'll be done with this subject. But I could not believe the amount. Like, I don't know if it's migrants or homeless, but across the hotel from us, there was hundreds in tents and like cardboard boxes, and I'm just like, dude, what the like?
Yeah.
It blows my like.
The bigger the city, the more that is, right?
I know, and I guess that's maybe that's why I'm so naive to the whole situation.
Right.
But man, it just freaking killed me to see people like that. Like, I mean,
I wish that I had the answer.
I just don't. I hate it. I hate it for those people, and you know, I hate it for whoever they are, for whatever reason that they're there, and that's what they're going through. I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're a drug addict or whatever.
You need
Nobody deserves that.
You need
in
help.
life. Nobody deserves that in life. That is like, nobody deserves that. I don't care who you are.
Man, you know, it's a good topic actually, because it really just comes down to the basic thing. You know, like you were talking earlier about there's bad in every. You said in religion, but really we kind of backtracked that because it wasn't necessarily about religion.
We're not trying to sound like we're trying to pick on a religion or we disapprove of religion.
Whatever you choose to do is your business, man. I'm telling you what I believe, and I hope you believe with me, because I do believe that this is the way. But at the same time, if you're devout to your faith, that I understand it. I would never,
because we are too.
Exactly.
I mean, you could never nobody could ever talk me into being have a faith any other way than what I have right now.
Right.
I'm sorry,
but there's bad in everybody. Yeah. Right. There's bad. It's just like not all cops are bad.
Yeah.
Not all white people are racist. Yeah. You know, all the things.
One bad apple will ruin it for the whole.
It really spoils the bunch, and that's the sad part, because really 80% of the problem comes from 20% of that specific thing, right? Yeah. So everybody looks at people who are on the street or begging for change, like they're just trying to get drugs or alcohol, and some of them are. Yeah, there's no doubt. But the truth of the matter is 80% of those folks are actually hurting. Yeah, and
something catastrophic happened to them.
They need help. And you know what I mean?
This goes sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, absolutely not.
This goes back to a statement that I made a while back to a man panhandling. I don't know what listeners, I don't know what you guys call that, but when someone's standing on the side of the road, you know, with a sign saying homeless, we'll work for food, whatever, and they're asking for money or change, around our part they call that panhandling. So but he was a guy out there and he was panhandling, and the the craziest thing was, on his sign it read, homeless, just need a beer.
Yeah. I gave him a $1.
No, well, I gave him a 5. I didn't have any ones. I had 5s and 10s. I think I had like a 5, a couple 10s, maybe a 20.
Yeah.
I gave him a 5, and when I handed it to him, I was like, "You're only getting this because you're honesty."
Yeah. Like, well, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Like I get it. Yeah, you're homeless, but you're just like, "Hey, man, I'm homeless. I'm just trying to get a beer.
I need something to take away this."
And you could tell. I mean, you could clearly tell. I mean, the poor man was dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, and then I thought, man, maybe he was just trying to do that to be funny, you know, thinking that, you know, more people would kind of be a little more understanding, but whatever he did, it worked, you know. But when I see, like, around here, I see the same people in the same spots with the same signs, always wearing clean clothes, you know, like,
yeah, you can kind of tell, and I get that. But there are also, the crazy thing is the the worst of them, the ones that are legitimately homeless, aren't even begging.
No.
They just sit in the freaking heat.
Just sit.
And they're just trying to find a way out of the elements, man. Like, don't care. Just protect me from the world.
Well, when that's so I talked to you about this not too long ago.
That's
Remember,
dude. It's down the street from here.
Yeah.
34th in Georgia.
Yeah. At the freaking Dollar General.
Yeah.
That blew my mind, man. Like, this
he's
dude.
A dirty guy, man.
Dude. And he's got, like, he basically built his fort or his hut up against the back side of the sign to try to stay as dry as possible. Like, he's got one solid figure right here.
Yeah.
But he's got a shopping cart pushed up against it, man, and he was just sitting there. When that time I come over here, he just sitting there chilling. I mean, just like, it wasn't nothing, just had his feet all propped up and hanging out. You know, he has like a makeshift little tent.
We talk about how this space that we're in right now, like our 8-year-old selves would be freaking out about how cool a fort we have, and then equate that to that guy and how he would feel about just this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every time we do this, we look at ways that we could do better or maybe make it different or improve it.
What has changed 3 times now?
Already, yeah. The whole footprint has changed multiple times.
It's changed 3 times. We made it bigger. Well, we did it first.
Yeah.
Then we changed it, put the table in, so that was 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then you made it bigger over the holiday break.
Yes, sir.
That's 3.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course, you got to think of the light situation. I mean,
I like the lights.
I do too. I like this nice ambient glow.
It's a little mild.
And really accent your cheekbones, bro.
I got gigantic cheekbones, just so y'all know. So, man, we really did a good job of wrapping it up in an hour and 6 minutes. But there was a scripture that had caught my attention earlier this week, and it was one of the things that I wanted to talk about because I think we get caught up in all the things that we're not supposed to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? When it comes to this walk, I think that even the best Christian people get focused on the wrong things. Yeah. And this scripture came up one day in the daily verse, and then I went
daily Bible verse.
The daily Bible verse, and then I went because I don't like to just cherry pick. I want to read what's around it so I understand what's happening. And this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. And it starts off verses 1 through 8 talking about there's a time for everything under the sun, right? There's a season for everything under heaven, a time to die, a time to live, a time to heal, a time to build, a time to laugh and cry, a time to tear down, grieve, dance.
Time to dance, yeah. Gather stones.
Yeah. But what I'm really interested in is what comes after that, and it starts in verse 9. And I thought this really speaks to us as people, and it says, what do people really get for all of their hard work? I have seen the burden God has placed on us all, which is interesting to me because
that is very interesting.
Whoever the writer is saying
it's very bold.
God has placed this burden on us. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. That includes the struggle, right? He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. This is where it gets real interesting to me. So, I conclude there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And people should eat, they should drink, and they should enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. Listen, I think that we get caught up too much in what God wants to take away from us. And that's in vain, forgetting that God has given us everything. And he doesn't want us, look, we talk a lot about focus, right? And I've been talking to a buddy of mine about this too. I'm a huge sports fan, specifically a Longhorn fan, but I love the Cowboys, Mavericks, Rangers.
Man, you love the whole metropolitan area of sports, you know?
I love all sports, and if the Longhorns are competing in it, I'm watching it, especially if they're competing on a high level.
I really, I don't know a whole lot of people that are such diehard fans of a college team that they watch every sport, men's, women's, it doesn't matter.
Yes, sir. I am that guy.
Yeah,
I'm a supporter.
Dedicated, dedicated. Like I thought I bled burnt orange. Not like you do. No, sir.
Yeah. So when my Longhorns won their second back-to-back national championship in volleyball, guess who was watching?
Yeah.
This guy right here. When they were competing for the national championship in swimming and diving, which they are the most dominant swimming and diving school in the country ever in history, I was watching that.
Yeah.
When they won a national championship in golf, I was watching that.
Yeah.
Yes, I am that guy. And some people kind of frown upon that, though. Some Christians frown upon that. Look, here's the thing. I want to make sure that I'm very careful with this because I do believe that everything can be sinful, right? We've talked about it before. Because if it takes your
heart away or takes your focus away.
Right. But it's not wrong to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not wrong to enjoy these sports. It's not wrong to cheer for them. Yeah. It's not. Now, should you approach your walk with God with the same vigor and the same excitement?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you know what? That is conviction that I have in my life. Praise and worship, I need to be convicted. I need to be just as I don't know the word.
You can hoot and holler, and you can do all that for a game. You can actively hoot and holler and do all that during worship.
You're right, but the problem is I can't curse. Because I do a little bit of cursing, guys. I'm sorry when I'm watching football or sports sometimes.
I think you can under your breath. Well,
but it really just goes to the point. Like, I think people forget that God loves you. God loves you. He wants you to. Look, sports don't exist without him.
Yeah,
competition is a part of things, right? It's a part of enjoyment, and God created it. If He created you, He created the person that created the sport that became so big, right? He put that in them. It's okay. It's okay to enjoy. And yes, you're right. We should make sure that our focus and we have the same, vigor when we're thinking about our worship of the Lord and our walk with God. But it's okay to enjoy these things. It's okay to enjoy life. It's okay to have a celebratory drink and to eat really good food. You know what I'm saying? It's okay.
Which we didn't get a lot of that in Denver. I was very disappointed.
Well, I don't know that Denver is the food mecca.
It's not. It is not. I mean, they have a football team I really enjoy, and that's about all.
Bro, I want to go to New Orleans so bad I can taste it.
So,
you ever been?
I lived down there for a while.
Did you really?
Yes,
God,
I worked down there I'm working down there for a while. Back then it was really cool. I hung out with a lot of the locals, made really good friends with them. The guy that I was talking about invited me to his baptism. He's actually the one I moved down there with.
Oh, well.
He was already living down there. He got me a job. I moved down there. We hung out like let me just tell you this. I think we got paid on Thursdays. Because we worked so many hours. Man, I was making really good money.
Yeah. Oil field or what?
Crushing rock.
Oh, crushing. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were making for our age and considering like our apartments were paid for, like we didn't have to do.
You just had money.
Our money was to spend on whatever we wanted to spend it on.
If somebody was paying my house payment and stuff right now, I'd have a lot of money.
Dude, we'd get paid on Thursday, and by Friday, I'm already asking this dude if he'll buy my breakfast.
Dang, man.
I partied like it was 1999 every single freaking day down there, dude. And what the worst part about it was, so I'm not going to say the worst because some of these people are actually really good people, but I started making friends with the people that lived in our apartment complex. Yeah. Of course, he was already friends with some of them.
Yeah.
And so I was getting to meet these guys through him. I mean, he'd already kind of developed a relationship by the time I got down there, so I started hanging out with these guys.
Yeah.
man, just those people, like, there's two types of people in this world that I can't party with. Hispanics, because, man, them boys know how to party.
You can't hang.
I cannot hang, man. I love you guys, man, and I just cannot hang. Y'all know how to. Y'all, yeah. You guys can start drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning and finish the next 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, and all
get up, sissy.
Yeah, get up, come on, mijo, like all this stuff, you know, and I love it. I got to make sure that I don't invite y'all to my house to party. I'll come to your house and I'll party with you because I can leave.
Right.
But if you're at my house, I can't kick you out. That's rude. You know what I mean? But it's them, and it's them New Orleans people.
Yeah, them
Cajun
folk.
Dude, them boys. I mean, them boys, like, we single-handedly walked into a club Friday night at like 7 o'clock, and I am not even kidding with you a little bit.
Yeah,
7 o'clock, and it might have been 7:30 on a Friday. We walk into this bar, Escapades or something like that is what it's called. We're all partying. Of course, you know, it's chemically induced too. You
of
know,
course,
there was a whole lot more than just alcohol being thrown around out there.
Yeah.
But we come walking out, and it was morning time, right? And it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, dang, and I felt terrible, dude. I was like, God dang, man, I can't believe it's already Saturday. Like I was like, man, I can't believe it's already morning, you know. And I can't remember if it was my buddy Zach or my buddy Jason, but they were locals down there, and they were walking beside us. And whoever it was like, bro, it is Sunday morning.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what? I'm like,
did I pass out somewhere and lose a day?
No. So, and man, dude, I'm telling you, like, it's just crazy. Those people down there are crazy. That you can walk up. I think it's Easy Marts or something like that they have down there. Yeah. I know they have 7-Elevens and stuff like that, but
not like Toon Totem and Pack Sack like we got here.
The same things on every other corner.
Yeah.
But there was like an Easy Stop, so you could walk out of the gate of our apartment and go out the back side gate, and there's an Easy Stop right there, Quickie Mart or whatever. Whatever it is. You could walk out there at like 4 o'clock in the morning and buy a bottle of Crown from this place.
Yeah, it's different than it is here,
dude. Yeah. There is no laws. Drinking laws do not exist.
Yeah, no limits.
You can walk around on this. You can walk around carrying around glass containers on the sidewalk. No one says anything.
Yeah,
they don't. But so, real quick into this story, and then I'll let you have it. But. So, a buddy of ours, he got trashed one night. He had a really awesome. Remember those WS6 Trans Ams?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he had a super nice one. Super nice. I mean, this thing was decked out, nice. He got trashed one night, and we're all trying to call him, like, dude, where's Zach at? You know, like, what's going on with him? Like, what's happening?
You good?
Yeah, we're not getting no response, dude. And so, like, we're like, dude, what the heck? Well, so it got like 2 days go by.
Yeah.
And finally, here he comes dragging himself through the gate at the apartment. I'm like, bro, what's going on with you? And he's like, man, I've been in jail.
Oh, and I was like,
no. What? So get this. This dude falls asleep or passes out. So he pulls up at a red light behind a car, and the light's red, and that car's sitting there. He passes out. Well, that dude had passed out too. So there's two of them
passing out
so
here.
Luckily, he put his car in neutral, but he put his car in neutral, and his car stayed there.
Yeah.
And the car in front of him, the dude was passed out, and his car, he was passed out. Both of them were passed out. So, dude, and the doors are unlocked. So when the cops come up, they just open the door, drag him out.
But he was just
Oh,
sitting
my
there, sitting there
gosh.
passed out at the red light.
Poor guy. I hope he has a better life now than he
Yeah,
did.
he does, man. His family is pretty well off. His dad is a huge deal in the car dealership business down there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's still. He was kind of always thought of him like he had a golden spoon in his mouth the whole time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
My mom always called it a silver spoon. But yeah. I get it.
His cars were always paid for. His apartment was always paid for.
Poor person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that.
I don't either. I'm not going to take it away from him. I'm not going to say shame
cool.
on him.
Good for him.
If your family can, they can. If not, they can't. Whatever. But I'll tell you this, man. I did learn a lot from being down there.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, some of the people that I hung around with were. I felt like I was very unfortunate. Like.
Oh yeah.
And some of the people that I hung out with down there, I mean, these poor guys, and then I left and Hurricane Katrina hit. And I always wondered about them, like, man, dude, what's going on? Like, I wonder if those guys made it out. And then me and my buddy talk about it all the time. Like, there was 3 or 4 of them that were really, really cool people that we just always kind of, every time we get together and we start talking about it, we actually kind of both of us like, man, I wonder if they made it out,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
You know what I like about those stories though, is they're not indicative to who you are today.
Yeah.
Right? They're part of the story, but they're not who you are right now, right?
Yeah.
I think that it kind of brings the whole conversation full circle back to where we started with.
People aren't who they.
No.
People can change.
People do change, especially people who choose to go on the path, right? The path of the way. And man, if I'm defined by all the things that I once was,
it's gonna be a long book.
It's a very long book, and it's not pretty, and it's nasty, and I'm not qualified to do anything. And if you're listening right now, you should just turn it off because I'm not qualified to speak to you. But that's not what God's word says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not what Christ says about us.
Yeah.
We're victorious. We are washed by the blood. This has been a ton of fun. Very interesting night because it went in so many directions, and I didn't expect. Really, I started one topic, and we really just transformed all of that into one big topic, and it comes back to this. And the whole time you're telling this story, I'm looking at you thinking, man, it's just not who you are today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's cool to have the stories, and look, your testimony is important. There's a scripture in Revelation, which, everybody looks to Revelation as the scary book or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, if you're scared of it, then you don't understand the story. You don't
also don't
understand
the promise of what's coming.
Yeah, that's right. But there's a scripture in there that says that the enemy was defeated by the blood of the Lamb and every word of their testimony. Their testimony is my testimony, your testimony, everybody's testimony, and your testimony is just your story. Yeah. It's all the things that God has brought you through, right? Yeah. You've come through so much, man, and you have a lot to be proud of, and I as do I. Look, I'm real bad about taking compliments and things like that, and I really appreciate your praise and talking about my writing and stuff like that. I'm real sheepish about it. I'm real scared.
No, just don't be though. I mean,
well,
I know it is. I know it is, and that's easy. It's easier said than done.
Yeah,
but
I
shouldn't
appreciate it.
You shouldn't be. I mean, I thought it was great, and I was surprised that you had so much. I mean, that just blew my mind that you had.
There's a whole lot more that I've lost over time.
you had so much, and I mean, to be honest, the fact that you are doing it, that you've been doing that, and that everything that what little I did read, which I did read quite a bit. I mean, you showed me quite a bit, and I did read those.
Yeah,
it just blows my mind that all of that was great.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think probably for you, it changes your perspective a little bit because it's not something you knew about me.
No.
Right? You didn't know that I had that, and you didn't know I did that.
Well, I will say this, and I hope I'm not going to get anybody in trouble. Your wife brought my wife some of your writings a while back, and I did read those.
Okay.
And me and her had talked about it back then.
Okay.
About how good they were. So I did know.
Okay.
But it kind of slipped my mind. You know, it'd been a long time, so it just like it wasn't really in my immediate aura of focus.
Yeah.
So when you brought it up, it was like, oh, yeah.
If anything in me is going to grow, if anything about this podcast or about me as a writer or anything is going to grow or go anywhere, it's going to be because of my wife, because she is that person.
Yeah.
She's my biggest fan. I can't, man, I can't, I'm grateful is not the word. Thankful is not the word. There's more. I can't say enough about what she is capable of and what she will do, because she ain't afraid to talk to nobody about nothing. And she will straight up, and she praises me too much. It makes me uncomfortable because, look, I am still just a person. You know what I mean? I'm still just a human being, and I'm still trying to figure it out too. You know what I mean? I don't do it all right. I don't do it all correctly. I don't always say the right things. I don't always do the right things. And sometimes I feel like she puts me on too high on this pedestal, and we do that as people. We put people up on pedestals, kind of like what you were talking about earlier, and we have an expectation of them. And look, I want to make sure that everybody in the world understands, whoever ever listens to me, ever, just knock the pedestals out, see me eye to eye, and understand that I'm coming from a position of, if I'm saying it to you, it's because I really, really believe it. I love you, and if you'll love me back and respond to me in love, we can learn a lot together.
You almost dropped the second curse word of this episode. I think, I've been doing real good, but I got really passionate about that story, and
it's okay. You know what? I don't know that. If they cancel us, they cancel us. We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, you can't cancel somebody that's not getting paid to do it.
That's right. We're just doing it because we love you.
Yeah.
Man, this has been a really good one. It's been really fun. I really appreciate it.
I was really worried about this one, man.
I know you were. I could tell. The vibe was not smooth at the beginning.
Yeah. It's just, I had a lot of, I was choking back on a lot and not really wanting to say.
That's what this is about, though. You can't carry in that baggage, and that's what these conversations are for.
Yeah.
And look, man, you and I are going to grow through these conversations, but we're just dragging people along with us. Really, we're just inviting them into the space.
Oh, absolutely.
And hopefully they can grow too. Look, it's time for us as men to learn that it's not being a pussy to share your freaking feelings.
Yeah.
That's the second cuss word, okay?
Yeah.
It's not. You're not a wimp. You're not weak. It's just being honest.
It's not going to deter me. I'm still gonna shove this.
I know.
Down any ear hole that'll hear it.
I know. Good, because this thing has a purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking it right now, and everybody who listens, whether anybody listens or not, this thing has a purpose that is way bigger than you and I have even envisioned yet.
Yeah.
And it's going to do something that we never ever expected.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think the biggest part of what I've put into this, and I'm really actually starting to understand now, as we've been talking tonight.
Yeah.
The part where I'm failing on this, in getting down in the dumps about how all of my interactions have gone with, hey man, you really need to check out our podcast, like blah blah blah. Is I'm putting it in humans' hands.
You're not wrong.
I'm putting it in the human hand.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
My wife said something very inspiring to me when I walked out today.
Here's the bumper sticker wisdom, baby.
Yes.
Comes from places you don't expect it all the time. Come on.
She hit me with it, and I was like, I got you. She's like, if you tell somebody once and they don't respond, quit telling them. God will handle it.
Yep. You planted that seed.
I was like,
right.
Of course, at first I was like,
that's not cool. You don't even support me. You don't even love me, do you?
Yeah. But then as I'm walking out, I'm like, man,
why she got to be right?
Yeah, she's always right. She's always right.
Oh, last bit of bumper sticker wisdom. Just in the spirit of the whole person. The reason we call this bumper sticker wisdom, besides the fact that I saw a bumper sticker that really was inspiring is the fact that we're just two knuckleheads, right? And we are going to have wisdom to say here and there, right? That's really the whole purpose behind it. But it also means something to us, like, because you see something and you see wisdom in things out of places you don't expect it.
Just
so
in your everyday life.
You text me about being in the crapper in Denver, and you're like, dude, I'm just looking at all this profanity all over the place. But what happened? You found one thing.
Yes.
And what did it say?
God is good.
God is good, but that's not what it said.
No.
Do you remember what it said?
Yes.
I got it in text message. Let's see.
Yeah. Of course. Okay. So you're gonna have to forgive me a little for that because we were already.
Yeah, it had been a long day already.
Well, yeah.
Here it is. Men's Room Denver. The oldest ink. That's the other interesting thing because it means nobody covered it up.
It was the most faded out ink, and it was at this little place called Stumpy's or Stoney's.
Stoney's, of course.
One of the two. Yes.
It said, "Be the best
you've ever been every day,"
and that's such.
That was dang, dude. You know what's even crazier about that?
I wish you had gotten a picture of it, like with all the profanity around it, and just kind of.
Dude, because it was like, man, there was a whole bunch of stuff that
a lot of anti-Semitic stuff.
Well, there was a lot of stuff like such and such does good oral things and
all the stuff.
Oh yeah, and it was all around it. Is that's what it is, and like they don't mark it out. It like the restaurant doesn't. This little bar restaurant thing, they don't try to cover it up. They don't do nothing. They just leave it alone.
Let it go.
And like I'm being dead serious. It's like how Amarillo is written on my snuff can.
Yeah.
All of this around here is all the bad. And down here, like 2014 right here, you have that one little saying. And everything around here is just crazy. Now I was like, what the? Like there's phone numbers for a good time, such and such does.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, what the?
Be the best you.
And just,
every day.
Be the best you can be every day. Be the best you've ever been every day. Yeah.
If that's not bumper sticker wisdom, boys and girls, I don't know what is, because look.
That's a pretty good thing to think about, like to try to keep in your heart. I mean, I don't replace that with the,
I can do all things through Christ.
Yeah, keep some Jesus wisdom in your heart first.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you ever want a little bit of human wisdom, something that you should probably try to focus on, like every now and then, that's a pretty good one.
Well, let me tell you something. Based off of the description, again, I wish we had a picture of it because it would be cool to be able to post. Because we don't have social yet, but it's going to have to happen at some point. The illustration that I see in my mind, right, is here is this wisdom surrounded by all of this
Sharpies. Everything was written in Sharpie. And dude, I'm telling you, like this was written, it almost looked like number 2 pencil. It was so faded. Like it, I mean, that's probably
been there a minute.
It's been there probably the longest of all of the stuff that's there.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, the illustration that I have in my mind, it's literally the vision of our story, of the story of our walk. Where's your focus, right? Because you can focus on all the storms around you.
Yeah, all the bold print.
And you can drown.
Yeah.
Or you can keep your eyes on Jesus and keep your eyes on something positive, and you can stay afloat, right?
Yeah.
That's the vision that I'm getting in my head. Interestingly enough, I don't know if that equates to everybody else, but it does to me.
I should have got my phone and went back in there and got a picture.
It would have been cool.
I really should have, because that was probably the coolest thing ever. And immediately as I'm standing there, I'm trying to look like patting for myself for my phone, but my wife had my phone. I think she was looking at pictures or taking a picture or I really don't know. I left my anyways, long story short, I left my phone with my wife, and I went in there and I was just like, I mean, of course, as I'm sitting there using the bathroom, I'm all looking around. And I'm like, what the?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I forgot all about that, too. That was just 2 days ago.
Well, some stuff, you know what the crazy thing is not everything's going to stand out in your mind, right? It stands out in the moment, but it doesn't necessarily stay there.
Yeah.
It's like the thought of the resolutions, right? I was thinking about,
So what's your, I know we're trying to get this thing wrapped up, but
no, it's
I didn't ever ask
There's
you
no
about
time frame.
your resolution. I mean, are you a resolutions guy?
I am not a resolutions guy, actually. I think exactly the same. Again,
I think you set yourself up for failure.
You do, because what you're doing is you're saying that this is what it's going to be, and that you can't say that. Just like any addict can't say that I'm done and I'm done forever.
Yeah.
In the 12-step program, an alcoholic or a drug addict, they do. They will say, I'm always an alcoholic. You know what I mean? That I'm always a drug addict. And I understand the idea behind that, right? Yeah. It's because I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, but I'm just going to make it one more day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the thing about the resolutions, most people equate it to like, oh, this year I'm going to get healthy, or I'm going to eat better, or I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to run, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And you know what? I'm more like you. I'm a goals guy.
Yeah.
My goal for this year, man, I told you, man, when we came into, we took a little break from our men's Bible study for a few weeks, and I kind of needed it. And honestly, I really haven't been on a great mindset for a while. I do an okay job of faking it, I think. Yeah. But I try to be real honest with everybody and try to be real honest with you guys, especially when we come into Bible study. But I told y'all from the start that I felt like this year was big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something is going to come out of it. And guess what? This happened through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was...
And I feel like there's more to that than this. I feel like there's more to that, right? So, again, I don't have a resolution, but I have a goal. And my goal is that for 52 weeks of 2024, we won't miss one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes we might do 2 a week. I don't know. I definitely, because I want to know, I want to see how different it looks 52 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Compared to where it starts. And, we're fixing to drop our first episode, and I know we're both a little apprehensive about it because it's weird. It's different. It's nerve-wracking. But, man, if we can help one soul, one person.
I would like to before we close it out, to say this. And I've said it a bunch, and I don't know if we have it actually, if it's in any of the recordings that we're going to release. But that was single-handedly probably the greatest thing anybody had ever done for me, was invite me to Bible study.
Yeah.
That was just single-handedly changed everything about it. Changed my perspective, changed my marriage. Of course, it changed me as a father, but not in such a way of, like, I used to let my kids just run all over me.
Yeah.
I'm more, you're going to respect my wife.
Yes, sir.
You are going to take care of your own business. Now I'll be here to help you.
Yeah.
But you did this.
That's on you.
You're going to learn about it now.
Yes, sir.
It changed me. It changed 100% of me for the better.
Yeah.
My wife can tell you, you could put my wife on this program right now, and she could probably like totally just get down for about an hour and a half, 2 hours of how much different I am.
Yeah.
Well, all from one little invite.
The power of invite, man.
Yeah.
And look, a good church, I know at our church, our pastor talks a lot about small groups and how important they are. Right?
Absolutely.
He talks about, look, I'm the CRO, the Chief Reminding Officer. I'm up here to give you some concepts and to remind you about things. But where the real life change happens is in small groups. You know how much look, most pastors are like, look at me, look at me. Immediately he's taking that off of himself and saying, it's over here. It's not about me.
You guys need to help each other walk through this.
Yeah, because that's what it's really about, man. You know, we are better together. You've said it. We're more powerful together. Where two or more are gathered in his name, there he is, right? That's Jesus is found in groups. Jesus isn't found. Look, he's with us always. And I've walked alone for a long, 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 long time.
Yeah.
This is a new thing for me. This thing right here is new for me.
Yeah.
But it's because he taught me a lesson,
Yeah.
a hard lesson. I had to learn the hard way that I can't do this by myself anymore. Like, it's too heavy.
How good does it feel, though?
Man, like, okay, so I can go from being in a moment like I was in a couple weeks ago and be sitting right here and just feel weightless almost. You know what I mean?
Everything goes away.
Like, okay, so you came in carrying something, like, and I knew that. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I was prepared for it. But I didn't want to just treat it like it was just any other day. I knew we needed to talk about it and we needed to put it out there.
Yeah.
Let's put it out there, dude. Maybe they'll listen and they'll hear it and they'll understand and be like, wow, this is important. This is big. I'm sorry, brother. I should never have treated you in that such a way. But they may not. And if you're looking for that, you're probably going to get disappointed. You know what I mean?
Well, the biggest part about it is, and I'm gonna leave it like this. All I wanted to do was get it off my chest. That was it.
Here we are.
Yep. I wanted that closure, because I have really noticed that the things that I do get off my chest here are amazingly enlightening after that.
Right.
Like
they don't stay on your chest.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I start to focus, instead of focusing on the negativity of them. When I say enlightening, instead of focusing on the negativity of the situation, I focus on the positivity, like how much more positive I can be with other interactions with different people.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
There's a this is a way back there scripture that I'll never would be able to tell you where this says, but it's literally, I want to be in the light because you're in the light. You know what I'm saying? It's talking about Jesus, and you know, the tattoo on the back of my leg is about that. It's the 2-part story. The bottom half is about walking in the darkness, and just seeing that light off in the distance. I'm just kind of wandering through the swamps in the dark, just looking at the light, trying to get to the light.
Yeah.
And the second half is finding the light. You know what I mean? And that light is found in all the people that I love.
Yeah.
My wife, my children, my grandchildren, my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look, I was not a popular kid. I didn't have a lot of friends. I have one friend that I've had for a really, really long time, and we're cool, man. We're close. He's had big impacts in my life. I've had big impacts in his life and big moments. But at the same time, we're not all that close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talk on the phone a couple times a week. He's moving back to Amarillo soon. I'm really excited for that. Just because, you know, we can be in close proximity to each other. But that dude watched me as a teenager. You know what I mean? And some of I was not the same person I am right now. And I guarantee you, he could testify to every bit of that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like the person I am today compared to what I was then. So, like, having friends is different for me. I'm used to doing it by myself.
Yeah.
From the time I was young. And God is good. And he made me recognize that I'm not capable. You know what I mean? Yeah. Through a lot of heartache. And honestly, if I kept on and I keep on trying to do it by myself, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to die of a heart attack, or I'm going to eat a bullet or whatever. You know, or swallow too many pills or whatever the case.
Like, yeah, that's so. And I didn't mean to cut you short, but I just wanted to touch on that one little part right there.
Yeah.
I think I'm guilty of it. I know you're guilty of it, but I think a lot of people, especially men in general, are guilty of the pressure that you put on yourself. It's no bueno.
No, it's really not.
It's no bueno. I mean, and you know the story of two of my very, very close friends.
Yeah.
Ending their lives tragically. That killed me, and you know the story of.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Killed me.
Yeah.
And
that they reached out to you. Why couldn't they reach out to you in that moment?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
they protected you from the same thing.
Yeah. You know, Kyle was he was right there. I mean, as I'm at my lowest, you know, I think everything is gone, everything's over. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, he was there for me. He was the biggest advocate I've ever had, other than my wife.
Yeah.
For getting me sober. Biggest advocate. I mean, that dude fought tooth and nail to get me sober.
Yeah.
Little did I know he was struggling with his own.
Yeah.
Like you're like he was like a savior for me.
Yeah.
But refused to let anybody else know that he had that going on.
Yeah. Man, seriously.
That is catastrophic.
And this is why we're doing this. And again, when we first started this, we thought we wanted to just focus on men. And I think we do come from a bent that way, right?
But this isn't directed towards a specific gender. It's
not. It's about everybody. And dang it, man. You can't do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. You know what I mean? If you want to put in our comments or on our Q&A or whatever and talk to us and let us talk to you and all those, please. If you feel like you're on your own, you're not, and you don't have to be.
Listen, I'll make this promise right now. If anybody that ever listens to us is struggling and they're feeling like they need to take their own life, I will send you my phone number. I will be your ear. I will be your shoulder to cry on. I will help you. But don't do it this way. Just don't. I mean,
no.
The people that
there's a purpose for your pain, man.
The people that it hurts, and you cannot put a gauge and really like measure the hurtful impact that does to people, because the ripple effect is so much longer than people even realize.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of
it's a full generation.
Yeah. Kids, family members, friends. And then you also have to think about the people that it directly affected, the friends, kids, family members of the person that actually did end their life.
Yeah.
You have to think about the friends of the people that were impacted, how they're watching their friends.
Yeah.
Totally just their lives are just destroyed. Now, as humans, you know, we have a really short memory.
Sometimes.
Depending on how impactful.
Well, look, I talked to you about a trauma response to somebody pulling out a firearm and firing a gun. And that was real, man. That's a real response from a real place. That was almost 30 years ago that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That vision and that memory sticks out to me like it was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's dependent upon the impact of it. And look, man, suicide's not the answer.
Yeah.
Slow suicide's not the answer either. Like, people drink themselves to death. My mom, she basically drank herself to death. And but what most people knew was the drinking. They didn't understand the pill popping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she took a lot of pills, man, and I'm amazed that she lived to be as old as she was, to be honest with you. She was a soldier, straight up. Like, if I'm back in my party days, like, this girl could go, you know what I mean? But, you know, that's not an answer either.
Yeah.
Healing comes through community. And this is a lesson I had to learn the very hard way. You know what I'm saying? And this community, I believe that this community is going to be real. Look, Jesus didn't need 12 disciples, but he did at the same time. Why? Because he knew he couldn't be here to pass the message on to everybody. You have to take it from him. Somebody has to take the baton, right? And he passed that baton off to the 12 disciples, right? And
it's a beautiful story too.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he had a group.
Yeah.
And look, like what played out in my living room when all the disciples were sitting around the fire bickering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, he's like, cashed out. Dude, just like that, though, they had to look at each other and they had to be honest for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had to get that off their chest.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The ability for their relationship will grow through that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we haven't gotten to see the episode after that. We watched The Chosen, and our men's group, and we haven't got to watch in 3 weeks because of the holidays and all that stuff. But, the truth of what I recognize is that they all got that moment where they saw the purpose that they were there for. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
After they forgot about the purpose for a split second, they recognized the purpose, and now their relationship, hey, we've gotten it off our chest. Yeah. I don't like that about you. I think it's crap. You shouldn't have been that. You should never do that. You're cursed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot what we were here for. I'm so sorry. That was stupid of me. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that that's what's going to happen.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because that's why I sat there like I was eating popcorn when all of it went down.
Yeah.
And you and your dad were really getting into it, like the nitty gritty of the whole thing.
Yeah, it got a little intense. It got really intense.
I wasn't sitting there like, oh yeah, let's see. Like, I wasn't sitting there like that.
Can you smell?
But we'd already been talking about that. We were talking about that as the episode was rolling on, and then this fires off as soon as the episode's over.
Yeah.
And that right there, I knew it was going to be a peaceful resolution. I was waiting for the movie ending. Like, I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, feed me some popcorn, like, because this is going to be good. How it ends is going to be good. And it was great.
Yeah. Man, I praise God, and I thank God for that. I thank God for both of us being able to
be able to mend it peacefully like
be
that.
Grown ass men instead of being little children. Because I could have reverted back to that child. He could have reverted back to that child.
Yeah.
But to recognize, wait a minute, I love that person. You know what I mean? And okay, maybe we disagree. Okay, I get it. Let's figure out, how do we get back to common ground?
Yeah. And it's okay to disagree.
It's okay to disagree.
Disagreement doesn't have to be a fight. It's a discussion.
We disagree. You and I disagree.
We disagree.
You like the Broncos.
Yeah.
I like the Cowboys. You know?
We own y'all, as a matter of fact. No, I'm just kidding. That was very unnecessary. It was just jacking.
No, but that's what we do. That's what we do as sports fans.
But it reminds you, and I hope a lot of people kind of take something from this. It really does remind you that you can have a disagreement with somebody and still be civil like, I disagree with a lot of things.
Oh my goodness,
that people do. I do. But I'm still there. I still love them.
Yeah.
I still support them.
Yeah.
Now, will I say that some of the things that they're doing are good? Absolutely not.
Right.
But hey, I will let you do you. I will let you be you, and I'll still stand back here and support you.
Yep.
But I don't have to agree with what you're doing, or I don't have to agree with your thoughts, but I still love you.
Love you, man. Yeah. I love you. That's it. Look, it's like we talked about. Christ said what the greatest command was: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, body, spirit. That's how I remember it. I know that's not exactly the way it says, but the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. Yeah. It's equal to, not second to. Yeah. You know what I mean? He said the second is like it. He didn't say it's second to. He said the second is like it. There's two rules, is what he's saying, not one. There's 2 commands, not one. The first is to love God.
Yeah.
The second is to love others.
Yeah.
Like you love yourself. Yeah. And this is a different topic for a different time, and maybe I should write this down, but
I will write it down.
Loving yourself. Okay? It's impossible. It's impossible to love others
without loving yourself.
And that's I think that's a really good topic. It could get really deep really fast. We're at 2 hours, and this is generally we go about 75 minutes is about the longest, about 1 hour and 15 minutes.
We
and
always
this
usually kind of hang around the 1 hour mark, but this one kind of ran over. But
the good news is we didn't put a plan on that.
No,
there's no defined reasons.
We were strictly firing from the hip. But before we close, I just want to say one thing. Remind everybody of one thing. Anybody listening, anything that may be pertaining to somebody, it's not a trash fest. It's a term of endearment. We're speaking out of a term of endearment. Man, I love everybody. I love everybody that's listening. I love everybody that don't listen.
Yep.
You know,
look, we're talking about experience. We're not talking about what we like, don't like, love, hate, any of that. Yeah. This is just about an experience.
We're just trying to be as organic and pure as possible.
Yep. And let me tell you something.
And honest, you know.
That's about as honest as I can get, is to tell you the truth about the feelings. But again, the big thing is it was something I was trying to tell you yesterday, is you need to tell those feelings how big your God is.
Yeah.
Because your God is bigger than that.
Yeah.
And so whenever
our God is he made those feelings. He made us to where we feel those ways. So he is 100% bigger than anything you feel.
Yep. And so whenever we face discouragement about this little path that we're on and this little journey we're trying to take, it's not about them. You know? It's really not. So to close this evening,
well, I'd like to say I love y'all. Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother.
This is Jason.
I'm John.
Have a good one.